Hello and welcome! In the previous video, we talked about the image of the three pyramids hanging on the walls of the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square, Cairo, which puzzled Robert Bauval, and the difference in the size of the three pyramids. We invite you to watch the previous video as it is related to today's video. How did the pyramids of Giza appear in the sky over Riyadh, Saudi Arabia? Robert Bauval was on a one-week business trip to Riyadh for a project, and when the weekend came, he went on a safari with his friends in the desert. That night, he was walking with his French friend who had knowledge of star constellations. His friend pointed to a particular constellation in the sky and said that this group consisted of 3 stars, but they were not on the same line or axis. The smallest star appeared a little further away from the first and second stars. Robert looked at his friend and suddenly shouted. His friend asked, "What's happening? What's going on?" Robert replied, "I see the pyramids of Giza in the sky." Finally, Robert found the key to solving the puzzle. The stars of the Orion belt are a group of 3 stars known as the Belt of Orion. This group is part of a larger constellation called Orion, which represents a powerful figure holding its prey. In that moment, Robert Bauval had a revelation and saw that the pyramids aligned perfectly with the pattern of the Orion belt, which explained their sizes and distances. The 3 stars of the Orion belt are Al-Nitak, Al-Nilam, and Mintaka. They are identical in size and relative brightness to the 3 pyramids of Giza. A line passing through Al-Nitak and the center of Al-Nilam and Mintaka is slightly farther, and the pyramids of Giza match the same shape. This line passes through the centers of the pyramids of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, and is also slightly farther. This was the unified plan Robert had been searching for, and it was the starting point. Robert Bauval wanted to discuss the idea with some Egyptologists, so he sent a letter to the director of the Egyptology department at the British Museum at that time, Dr. Harry James. Dr. Harry James responded that this alignment between the pyramids and the Orion belt was just a coincidence. Of course, this was a very discouraging response, but Robert didn't give up. He tried again with the well-known British Egyptologist Dr. Edward, who was enthusiastic about the idea and encouraged Robert to continue his research. Robert didn't stop there and said, "Since the pyramids of Giza were constructed and built according to the pattern of the Orion belt, why can't there be other buildings built according to the pattern of other celestial bodies?" He studied the pyramid texts. For those who don't know, the pyramid texts are the oldest sacred Egyptian texts found in the pyramids of Unas, Teti, and other pyramids in the Saqqara area. These sacred texts are written in the inner chambers of the pyramids and talk about the king's transition to the afterlife. One thing that caught Robert's attention during his study of the texts was the mention of a celestial waterway, which implied the existence of a river appearing in the sky. For example, one part of the text says, "In the voice of the king, have you lifted me and carried me to the winding waterway? Have you made me dwell among the gods and the eternal stars?" In another part, the text says, "The winding waterway overflowed, and I crossed to the eastern side of the sky to the place where the gods made me, where I was born again as a youth." The sacred texts indeed spoke about a winding waterway in the sky, and about the king's transition from west to east to dwell among the gods and the immortal stars. The ancient Egyptians believed that the stars were the abode of the gods. Many Egyptologists believe that the winding path mentioned refers to the Milky Way, which indeed appears like a winding river in the sky. It can be seen with the naked eye from Earth on certain nights. There is a very important text in the pyramid texts, which says that Egypt is a reflection of the heavens. Most who came across this phrase considered its meaning metaphorical, associating it with beauty, clarity, and so on. However, Robert Buffle saw that it referred to a true reflection of the sky, and that Egypt was literally a mirror of the heavens, not metaphorically. His study concluded that Egypt, with its Nile and 7 massive pyramids, all from the 4th dynasty, is a reflection of the sky. The Nile River is the earthly counterpart of the Milky Way, symbolizing a celestial river, with the 7 pyramids on earth corresponding to the 7 stars in the sky. They align in size, brightness, and relative position to the Milky Way. In other words, the pyramid of Abu Rawash is a reflection of the star Sirius, and the 3 pyramids of Giza are reflected in the Orion's belt. The pyramid at the angle of the Orion is a reflection of the star Bellatrix, and the pyramids at Dashur align with the stars Callas, fulfilling the meaning of the pyramid texts. This proves that Egypt is a mirror of the heavens. The ancient Egyptians particularly revered the Orion constellation and believed that the Sirius star was the source of life. Astronomically, the Sirius star is linked to Orion's constellation, which precedes it. In their beliefs, Sirius was associated with Isis, while Orion was linked with Osiris. The stars of Aquila were associated with Bastet, Osiris' sister and killer, in the famous myth. The theory Robert Buffle reached would lead us to a very important conclusion. The pyramids were not built or constructed separately from each other. They are not what many of us think. Instead, their design followed the same mindset at the same time. Part of a larger architectural plan that was based on religious beliefs, astronomical knowledge, geology, architecture, mathematics, and statistics. From day one, it was planned and designed that there would be 7 pyramids in these locations, all under one unified project and design. The construction may have taken years, 100 years or 200 years, but that is not the main issue. The belief that King Khufu decided to build his pyramid on the Giza plateau, and after him, King Khafre decided to build his pyramid next to his, with each king designing and building their pyramid in the way they saw fit, is clearly an incorrect story. Likewise, the idea that the bent pyramid had a mistake in its angles during construction, and thus they decided to build the red pyramid next to it, is also incorrect. In the following videos, we will see that there was no room for coincidence or error, and that the stories recorded in most books about design or construction errors were not mistakes, but intentional designs. It was indeed planned that there would be 2 pyramids at Dashur in the Giza region. The red pyramid corresponds to the star Aldebaran in the sky, and the bent pyramid corresponds to the star Alhina from the Taurus constellation. You should know that the star Aldebaran is defined in books as a red giant, because over millions of years, the hydrogen inside it transformed into helium, causing a significant rise in temperature, turning its surface red. Do you think, my friend, that it is a coincidence that the pyramid corresponding to Aldebaran is red, unlike the other pyramids? This pyramid is built from limestone with a reddish hue. Do you think my dear friend, that this is why it was called the Red Pyramid? I don't think so. This is just my personal view. I don't think it's a coincidence, but I believe everything was designed with precision. However, in the end, this passionate engineer, obsessed with pyramids, halted his long study and research into the pyramid texts and their connection to the stars. He published his theory in a scientific journal called Kent Jep, or Discussions in Egyptology. He felt he had done everything he could by logically connecting the pyramids and the stars in the sky, opening the door for others to discover something even greater. He decided to stop at this point, wishing you all good health, love, and peace. See you in the next video.